I would now like to welcome in their head coach, kind enough to give us a little bit of time in what is a very busy but exciting moment. Hey, Coach Eli Drinkwitz, I'm so happy for you.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. I wish I was there, but listen, Hamilton, who we sent as a proxy, he begged to go. I said, rookie
Absolutely.
move. You go to pro day when they're like counting the veins in people's necks when they're on the bench press. You enjoy that when they're measuring biceps. I will come to Mizzou in the fall. I want the red carpet. I want a game day experience. Like, let's go, coach.
Yeah, I mean, you're one of the most famous alumni from the University of Missouri. You've gone off and just been a massive success. So we're absolutely going to make sure, Coach, you can be in the locker room. If you want to give the pregame speech before we play, we're ready to roll.
I think we should leave that to Brad Pitt and the other actual famous alumni coach, if we're being honest. But what a time to be alive. So much enthusiasm. I got to tell you, since college, there have been many years where I don't get texts. And this is a long time ago, over 10 years ago, 15 years ago, not getting many texts about Mizzou, not feeling the hoopla. And now everywhere I look, people are wanting to talk about Mizzou and everything that's going on there. The pro days tomorrow, when you even
Yeah.
just saw that clip from the combine that we bumped in with, what does that say about your program and what's going on?
Yeah, I think it's been a lot of hard work, and really we owe a lot of it to Luther Burden and Armand Membu. Those two guys came in when we were selling a dream and a vision about where we wanted to take the University of Missouri, and they've put a lot of hard work and effort into it. You know, they're a reason why we have this new $30 million indoor facility behind us, why we've kicked off a $250 million North End Zone project. So we're very proud of those guys and being able to raise the talent level that we've had at the University of Missouri, and they're a huge part of it, and can't wait for their day tomorrow. Obviously, there's a lot of other guys going to compete in two. You're going to have Brady Cook, you're going to have Theo Weiss, but obviously Luther Burden and Armand Membu are going to be the headliners.
I just had Coach Izzo on, and obviously you have to deal with a lot in recruiting and young minds and shaping men, and Coach is all about culture. I would love for you to describe in your own words the culture of Mizzou football.
Yeah, it's been a massive undertaking to try to figure out exactly how you're going to shape the culture, because when we first started, it was old school college football, and now we're into an NIL era, mass transfer portal. We keep coming back to a brotherhood, and that's really what we want to try to instill in each other is we talk about a just us mindset. It's unity over self, and it's believing in the power of a brotherhood, and not the power of the individual. Kind of 3 years ago, we talked about having something to prove. We're not trying to prove that individually we're talented. We're trying to prove that together we can be the best team. And it's still a team first mentality. It's still about leaning on each other and believing in the power of unity over self.
There were some tough years there that you're mentioning. I'm telling you, I didn't get any texts. Now I am. Then you take the job and COVID happens, which I'm sure had to set you back. Yet you somehow, my friend, managed to build this into a program with back-to-back 10-plus win seasons, top 20 finishes. It's impressive anyway, but how did you do it so quickly? That's what stands out to me.
Well, I think it was we wanted to keep the best players in this state home first, and I think we were able to do that. You look at Brady Cook, Cody Schrader, Luther Burden, Armand Membu, Brett Norfleet, some of the guys that are currently being elite players for us started in the state. And then I'll be honest, the transfer portal and NIL have really helped us. Being able to utilize the transfer portal to enhance the talent level of our team, being able to utilize NIL. This is not a poor state. The University of Missouri is seated between two hotbeds from a recruiting standpoint. We have 11 Fortune 500 companies in the state of Missouri, and we've got a passionate fan base that believes in this university. We're the only Division I playing school in the state of Missouri. Roughly 10 million people, 6.5 right here in the state, but also in the surrounding communities. You're talking about a 10 million person that really support and believe in the power of this university. And we've produced some tremendous alumni who are out, who are proud of us now, and I think that only helps us.
I got to know Brady Cook a little bit over Zoom, kind of like I'm doing now. And we talked about, that crazy fourth quarter comeback. He goes to the hospital, he comes back. Mizzou wins all of these insane, like I'm here in LA, Hollywood, like these production companies would love the rights to some of these games. Auburn, Oklahoma, Arkansas, all down to the wire. That,
Yeah.
This is a dramatic team. We hear about how teams embody their coach. What does that say about you, Coach?
Really, it has nothing to do with me. It really has to do with our players believing in each other. It comes back to a brotherhood. It's always believing that we're still in the fight. We have an advantage us mindset that no matter what happens, it's our advantage because we've trained for it. We believe in each other. We believe and trust in our training. We have confidence that we're going to find a way to make the play when we need to. And man, Brady Cook's had a lot to do with that. Obviously, we talked about y'all made the point of don't be a celebrity quarterback. We need a battlefield commander when the game's on the line. You want somebody who's proven himself to be a tough-minded player and individual. And you look at Brady Cook's career, the number of one-score games that he's won, the number of times he's come back, from halftime being down. It's just a tremendous testament to him and a tremendous testament to the men in that locker room.
Coach, I don't know how to put this. You are so calm. You're like a nice guy. You're a
Yeah.
joy to talk to. And then what the heck happens to you out there? Animated
Yeah.
isn't the word.
Yeah.
You're a maniac. What is this?
It's a competitive spirit. It's a competitive spirit that I had a friend who gave me a coffee cup that says, "I love Jesus, but I cuss a little." And I think that probably perfectly sums me up. I have a strong faith and a belief, but sometimes it gets the best of me in my competitive juices. I've got two older brothers, and I come from a family where you had to compete every day to survive, and so we get out there. I'm competing to win, and I make no apologies about it.
Where can I get that mug? That is absolutely perfect and you should use that on game. I mean, it's game day that this happens to you. I wonder if it
Game day
has
in
to do with,
practice. Game day in practice.
oh, okay. Well, I don't get to see that. Maybe there's something to do with your caffeine consumption. I heard, and you've got drink in your name, your coach drink. We got to
Yeah.
figure this out. You were drinking so much Diet Coke that you switched up to Celsius, which is like 7 Cokes in one, Diet Cokes in one. What are we doing here?
Well, I've got a little bit of a system. I start with a cup of coffee, and then I transition to a Diet Mountain Dew, and then at noon I cut back off the Diet Mountain Dew, and if I got to get ready for practice, I go to a Celsius. But I try to cut caffeine by 6 so I can go to sleep at night. But yeah, you gotta function on something.
Uh, I'm sorry, Diet Mountain Dew at what time in the morning? What is the regimen?
Well, a cup of coffee, and that's usually by 6:30, and then by 7 I just transition to Diet Mountain Dew. Yeah.
Well, now it all
You
makes
go, you
sense.
go, you go a dark to a light back to a dark, and it's just I don't know. It's just kind of how I operate.
Where
I
are
don't
the
know if there's any
sponsorships?
science behind it.
Coach Drink's got
Yeah,
it figured. I mean,
actually,
I will drink 2 sips of a Celsius and I'm literally on the ceiling. Like I can't, I'm Pippi
yeah.
Longstocking walking on the ceiling. Like, what are we talking about? That's insane.
I got in a little bit of
Um,
trouble after my first win against LSU. I had a Diet Mountain Dew in the post-game press conference, and we're a Diet Coke school, so that was not one of my finer
that's
moments
it.
with our marketing. So
Yeah,
we've got that transition. Diet Cokes come through. They've got me a really nice refrigerator in my office that we
let's
promote.
go.
They've got my own Diet Coke bottle, so they've done it right. So I'm a proud supporter of Diet Coke.
Okay, Mr. NIL, I love this for you. The Mizzou's Pro Day is tomorrow. Could you give us
Mhm.
just like a little taste of who you're expecting, what the vibe will be, alum, NFL coaches, who's coming, what's happening?
Yeah, all 32 teams will be here. I know we've got some high-level executives from both the Patriots, the Saints, the Atlanta Falcons, the Green Bay Packers. I know we also have some high-level executives from the Texans. The Panthers are going to be here. So every NFL team is going to be here. In fact, there's a lot of personnel in our building today scheduling meetings with our guys and just doing that background work on them. And so it's going to be a great opportunity. I know. I think it's April 27th. Can't come fast enough for both our university and for these guys. We talk about within our program, Chase Two Dreams, and that's the life with football and excelling at the highest level that you can to make it to the NFL. But that second dream is to utilize this wonderful university and this degree that you're going to get and chase that second dream of life outside of the game. And so this is just one part of that dream, and tomorrow is going to be a culmination of that dream for a lot of guys.
Interesting you pointed out that there's high level executives from the Patriots coming when there's so many mock drafts that I'm looking at having the Patriots take your boy, Armand
Yeah.
Membu, at 4 overall. I'm sure that, that's no mistake. You're thinking about them. He's got a big day tomorrow.
Yeah.
You ended up making him a starter as a true freshman. So you knew
Mhm.
something early. Take me back to that. What did you see in an 18-year-old Armand?
Well, so he enrolled as a early enrollee and practiced all spring, and you saw raw athleticism and a hunger to be a great football player. But the best story I have about Armand is the first day of summer workouts. We did a tug of war competition with another freshman, and the freshman absolutely whipped him. And Armand didn't talk to anybody for 36 hours. Like I was extremely worried about him. Like, oh my gosh, like we've destroyed his confidence. But it did something else. It lit a fire underneath him. And from that point on, his work ethic, his desire, his want to a switch just absolutely flipped in him. And he absolutely contributed as a freshman. His first career start was at Tennessee, didn't give up a sack, played really, really well. And the rest of it is written for him. I knew all year he was playing really well. I was trying to get him to come back because I thought he could be the first overall pick next season. But he believed in himself and said, "Hey, I'm ready. I'm going to go prove that I can go play tackle in the NFL." And I knew when he went to the combine, we all knew that he was going to just test unbelievably well. But when you watch the tape, when you really zoom in on him, he's got rare athleticism and raw strength. He can play both guard and tackle. I believe he'll play early. And if you're at a team that's got a franchise quarterback, the best friend of a franchise quarterback is a solid left tackle or right tackle that can block anybody in the NFL. And Armand's only given up 3 sacks, and it's like 2,100 career snaps in this league. And this is the closest thing that anybody's going to have to compare to an NFL defensive ends because that's what he saw every week. And so, again, if you're in the top 10 draft and you've got a franchise quarterback, I think you'd be absolutely crazy if your quarterback's been getting hit a ton, not to
Mm-hmm.
take on Membu because his best days are ahead of him. His best football, especially with great O-line coaches, great scheme, great culture, his best football is ahead of him. And he's only 20 years old. So it's a no-brainer. And then when you talk about Luther Burden, I'm jumping the gun here, Kay, but
No, go for it.
his competitive spirit, competitive toughness, if you're a program that maybe hasn't been to the NFL playoffs the way you want to, and you're trying to rebuild, this guy's already done that at the University of Missouri. He came when nobody else thought he should. He came when it wasn't exactly sunshine and rainbows, and he made it into that. He's an elite player that can take over a game. He's a guy that when the ball is in his hands, he has a stubborn refusal to get tackled, and especially in a
Mm-hmm.
league that doesn't, I'm not going to say they don't tackle, but not everybody's out there trying to tackle people. He's going to run through a lot of arm tackles. He's going to run through guys who do not have a mentality that we're going to bring him to the ground, and his competitive spirit. So again, maybe you're solid on the offensive line and you've got a really good quarterback. You better find a way to get that ball in the end zone. And Luther Burden, they call him Touchdown Luther. I mean, I don't know what else you need to be called in order for you to get drafted in the first round.
Well, and I mean, you're there. 32 teams, every team in the NFL is showing up. They're going to ask you all these questions. The measurables. It'll be a full day for you tomorrow with Luther. I mean, 2023. This was a surefire top 10
Yeah.
pick, monster
Yeah.
year for him. You're going to have these, draft experts and analysts, and maybe even some coaches, GM scouts saying, "Well, I don't know, his stats from last year are negative." What would you say to that?
Yeah, don't be fooled by stats. I mean, do your job, look into the research, actually study the tape. There wasn't any drop off from him from a performance ability. He just ran a 4.42. He's
Yeah.
212 pounds. He's 6 foot. When the game was on the line, you look at the Boston College game. Game was on the line. Luther Burden took over. It was 3rd down. We had to have a conversion. He runs a perfect route, gets a perfect throw. You look at the Auburn game in the 2-minute drive. It's 4th and 6. Brady Cook. It's zero pressure. He checks, throws the ball to Luther Burden. You look at South Carolina, 4th and 6. We have to have a game-winning play. Luther Burden, Brady Cook throws Luther Burden a one-handed catch that goes for a touchdown. So you can look at stats. That to me means if you're worried about stats, that means you're basing this draft off of Twitter, which is going to get your ass fired. So if
Woo!
you really want to be a football coach and really want to be a NFL executive, you probably just need to watch the tape and go that way.
Coach, I'm ready to run through a wall. Are you kidding me with this? I love Luther Burden. I mean, he has he has the stats. He has it all.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think everyone's going to see that. He commented on a Commanders post. Did you see this? I don't know if it was a Commanders post, but it was a post about him going to the Commanders. Now, I know Jaden might be a sensitive subject for you, of course. Like, let's not talk about any of that. But can you see that? Can you see him in that fit, catching passes from a quarterback that you have seen firsthand?
Yeah, he broke my heart 2 years ago right
Sorry.
here. That's okay. No, yeah, wherever he goes is going to be remarkable. His comp is Deebo Samuel, so I'm not sure if him and Deebo on the same field together. I think they'd be running a lot of the same style of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But I hear all the time that Sean Payton wants a weapon. Somebody that's a mismatch. Well,
He
there's
said
not a greater
that
mismatch in
on my show.
college football. Well, there's not a greater mismatch in college football than Luther Burden, unless you put Armand Membu against, a defensive end. That's a pretty good mismatch for Armand. I just saw him walk by. That's why I said it.
I think Armand's joining the program, by the way.
That's
What
what I
should I
hear.
ask Armand? What do you think I should ask him?
No, ask him about his dog. He's a big dog. He's got a great dog. He loves his dog. He's got a wonderful mom and sister back at home, and he's going to take care of them. So I'd ask him about his family and his dog. Anything else will be one-word answers.
That sounds like a challenge for me that I am up for. I'm excited to talk to him. As I mentioned, Brady Cook was kind enough to give us some time, and he came on the show, and everyone knows he's a winner. Everyone knows he's athletic, especially after his combine performance. What doesn't get talked about with Brady enough?
Well, I'm a big believer in the Bill Parcells theory of quarterbacks, and it's, the winning percentage in career starts. And when you look at Brady Cook, his winning percentage, his career starts, his touchdown to interception ratio is as good as anybody in the country. The guy threw 3 interceptions this year and maybe 7 last year. It's just remarkable the amount of great decisions that he makes throughout the game that gives you a chance to win. And especially in a league at the NFL, when there's going to be a number of one-score games, you got to have a guy who, when the game's close, is he going to make the right decisions? Is he going to give us a chance to win? And he's consistently proven to do that. He's a great worker. He's going to continue to work, and he's going to be a tremendous teammate. He's not going to come in there and have a whole lot of unrealistic expectations. He's going to come in and try to be the best teammate, try to learn, be very supportive of the starting quarterback until it's his opportunity. And I think he's got a lot of opportunities there. I think he's got a very similar career trajectory as maybe Chase Daniel. I'm a former great Mizzou player. I think he's got a lot of those same characteristics.
Those of you watching wanted a recommendation for Columbia, Missouri. Chase Daniel said go directly to Trops if it's still there. I don't know how that place is still around, but Chase Daniel tweeted, go to Trops, which isn't a bad idea. I will take the tiger paw in a large with the red straw. Thank you. Coach, you're going to say bye to these guys. You've never been.
No, I saw that recommendation. I was down on myself, but I saw where you put Booches and Murray's. I'm like, yeah, I've been there, and I would wholeheartedly recommended Booches. Make sure you bring cash. But yeah, I thought for sure you were going to say Harpo's. I was pretty surprised you didn't.
I worked at Willie's Pub and Pool on Broadway.
Well, there you go.
Harpo's was a rival, and Big 12 on 9th Street, a rival for me, Coach. That's like telling me that I should go to Kansas instead of Mizzou. Get it? Come on, Coach.
You know what? I'm going to tell you this one. You probably ought to ask Armand how many times he's been to Willie's, because rumor is his freshman year he didn't go quite as much, but after his freshman year he became a starter. May have been a few more trips to Willie's.
And as there should be, it says more about him than, I'm questioning your character and decision-making by never going to Trops, the institution of Columbia, Missouri. You're going to have to say bye to these guys. Brady Cook is going to leave. You're practicing right now. You've got a decision to make at quarterback. Bottom line, who's in the lead?
Yeah, bottom line for me is it's been surreal going to practice because since I've been here, Brady Cook, Armand, and Luther have been constants. And any success that we've had at the University of Missouri is a direct reflection of those guys. And if it wasn't for their belief in us and the amount of work that they put in to move this program in this direction, we just owe them so much gratitude. And I feel a great weight on my shoulders, and I think our team does too, to bust our ass every single day, not to let those guys down and not to make all their sacrifices that they made for us for nothing. As far as who's in the lead at quarterback, man, the portal opens April 15th. So I'm damn sure not saying a word about who's leading the quarterback race
It's so
until
true.
after.
It's so true.
But I'll say this, I've been very pleased and very, very proud of the way those quarterbacks have played. We told them all we're not going to name a starter out of spring. We want these guys to go fail, make mistakes, make great plays, learn from them, see who can be consistent day in, day out. When they have a bad day, see who can bounce back, because that's the position. It's not a position without air. They're going to make mistakes, but who can reduce the mistakes, who can learn, who can be a battlefield commander, who's not going to Willie's tonight to celebrate, March Madness, who's going to be in there studying extra tape. So I think we'll be just fine at the University of Missouri at quarterback. We've got a long lineage of success, whether you're talking about Brad Smith, Chase Daniels, Blaine Gabbert, James Franklin, Drew Lock, Brady Cook. There's going to be another one step up and take that opportunity.
I mean, that's history right there. You mentioning Brad Smith. I remember being a freshman and getting that jersey. That's the one that I wanted. Some of these players, they weren't alive back then, barely alive for any of that action. Kansas, Kansas is back on the schedule, Coach, for the first time since 2011. And it's back at Mizzou for the first time since 2006. This rivalry means everything to these fan bases, but truly, some of these kids were barely alive for these games. How much education is going on and leaning into the intensity of this thing?
Yeah, there's a lot to it. Because I think the team that understands the rivalry the most will play the hardest, and we're going to have to understand the rivalry. It means a whole heck of a lot to our fan base, to this state. I mean, crud, Norm Stewart wouldn't even spend money in Kansas City or in Kansas, so we have to be smart about it. I've got some good friends who are owners of the Sporting KC Soccer Club, but we went to the City St. Louis game with the team because it's in the state of Missouri, and Sporting KC's on the Kansas side. So you got to make some hard decisions when it comes to this rivalry, and that's just part of it. But yeah, there's a lot of education going back and forth. John Anderson is speaking to our team about it. We got Kay Adams coming in, I think, for that game. I think she's going to
September 6th.
Yeah, I think she's
week
going to
of the
address
season.
the team about what the importance of that rivalry. Chase Daniels already put on Twitter that he's coming, so going to have to get extra security for that. And if I lose, he'll probably just take over the job right then. So, it's a little bit more pressure on me too.
Do you hear from Chase Daniel often? Tell me about that.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Now, I don't hear from him quite as much because he's got his podcast. He's working on that. But, no, he's excellent. Anytime we've ever needed anything, he came 2 years ago and spent 2 days with us and spent time with our quarterbacks. He's always welcome back, came back this season. He's just remarkable ambassador for our university and our program. And we owe him a lot for he got this place. Him and Brad Smith got it going. And it took a little bit of a pause, but we're trying to trend back in the right direction.
Hamilton and I always talked about how Brad Smith was ahead of his time and what big fans we are. With that rivalry, too, Hamilton wanted me to ask you about the drum. I don't know if you know, the original Border War drum is in the College Football Hall of Fame down in Atlanta. Where's the one from 2011? Are we getting a new version for this reboot? Do you care? Tell me.
Yeah, those are all questions that I've got to find answers to. I thought, we've got the big Mo that we beat before the game, and there's actually a trophy in our trophy case called the Border Showdown. So I didn't know if we were doing that or if we're going to use the drum, or I thought you were talking about the war drum that we beat on Fridays the day before the game. So there's a lot of drums we got to get figured out here, but we'll have an answer for you.
Yeah, you've got your pro day to look forward to. Hours away, by the way, today. From Missouri against Drake in the NCAA tournament. What are your thoughts? Let's start with this. What impresses you most about what Dennis Gates has done with that squad?
Yeah, I think consistency of approach. I think when you see Dennis, not only does he wear the same suit every game, but he's the same guy every day, and nothing really rattles his confidence or his belief in himself. And I think that's reflective in his team. I think those guys have done a tremendous job. They play fast, they shoot, they have a lot of confidence in each other, they play for each other. I've used a lot of things that I've learned from Dennis, including one of the things that we use for our team development and DAPS. So got just a lot of respect for Coach Gates and that team. And it's going to be an interesting matchup tonight. Apparently, Drake's one of the slowest teams in the country. So it's going to be a battle of who can dictate the tempo of the game. But if Caleb Grill at home is shooting the way I think he can, and Mark Mitchell's back, feel really confident the Missouri Tigers carrying the day.
I think you need to go get a tiger paw from Trops and watch the game. And if you don't do that and they lose, it'll be because you put bad juju on the Mizzou Hoops team, Coach.
Well, we're actually having a March Madness club on the second floor of the southeast end zone today. And we've got all of our players over there. We've got all the TVs up. We've got 3 big screens, so the 3 different channels. We've got a lot of different foods in there, no alcohol. But it's just a great opportunity for us to build camaraderie within our team and have our guys have a spot. Hopefully they'll go to class when they're supposed to. Didn't think that part of it through all the way, but got a March Madness club on the second floor.
And that's why Hamilton's there. Now it all makes sense. And I'm sure
he's already talked about
plenty of Diet Cokes.
He's already talked about it.
Yeah, we will talk to Armand Membu still yet to come. Coach, congrats on the quick success. Truly so impressive. So happy for you. And yes, I'll see you in the fall.